All right, dreaming of jet setting this year, but think it's out of reach? Think again. You may be sitting on travel loyalty points. Here to help us make the most of your travel rewards program is personal finance expert Barry Choi. What can we use our points on, Barry?
I know you're tired. It probably just shows that you need a holiday or something. You got to get relaxed. You got to use those reward points. But to use your rewards points, it really depends on the program. For example, a lot of people collect Aeroplan points, which is Air Canada's loyalty program. They know you can use it for flights, but you can also use it for things such as hotels, vacation packages, cruises, even car rentals. You know, you and I were also talking about grocery programs offer. Of course, we all know you can use those points for groceries, but additionally, some programs, depending on which is, you can use it at gas stations, you know, the theater, some restaurants, and even pharmacies. And finally, if you're part of a bank rewards program, usually it's used for travel, but one little known tip, some of them allow you to use your points on financial rewards, such as paying down your mortgage or even contributing to your TFSA, so it could be beneficial in the long run.
Now, are there ever any point sales on points redemptions?
Yeah, it sounds really weird because you're already like getting something for free on points, but is there a sale? Can you get a sale on something that's free? The answer is yes, and it really depends on the program. We're talking about Aeroplan. A couple times a year, they have a points redemption or a sale on seats when it refers to specifically Aeroplan redemptions. It could be 25%, it could be 30% off. And these usually applies to certain destinations, certain times. But to make sure you know when those sales are happening, make sure you're signed up for Aeroplan newsletter, check the app regularly. And a lot of people also don't know that with Aeroplan, you can book any available seat on points. So what that means is if the seat is available to be purchased in cash, you can use your Aeroplan points to get that seat. So a lot of good value, especially for those people who are looking for a trip during spring break or even the summer holidays.
Now, how can we determine the value of our points?
Louie, are you a math guy?
No, not even a little bit, Barry. Come on.
I'm going to break it down a little bit. It's going to sound a bit complicated.
All right, okay. Let me write this down. Hold on. I get my pen and paper out.
First, you take the cash value of the redemption, right? Say it's $600 a flight. And then you subtract any taxes that you have to pay for that redemption. Say it's $100, so 600 subtract 100. You take that number, multiply it by 100, and then you divide it by the number of points required. And that gives you something called cost per point. Or CPP, and the higher that number is, the more valuable it is. And so with airlines, the prices are dynamic, so you can quickly see between a couple flights what's better value. But it also applies to any other program where you're like, oh, if I'm going to redeem for groceries, or if I'm redeeming for a car wash, what's a better value? You use that formula. But good thing we can play the segment online after. Just take those notes.
All right, yeah, because that's a lot of math for 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Do you have any tricks when it comes to redeeming your points?
Yeah, so we already talked about cost per point and we talked about sales, but I tell people sometimes you only really need to know the inside outs of 2 or 3 programs. You know, we're already talking about Aeroplan, and people know you can use it for flights. But a lot of people don't realize that they also have a great program called Hotel Savers, where you can save up to 30% of points on hotel redemptions at some great brands such as Banyan Tree and Fairmont. And in addition, if you're an Aeroplan credit card holder, when you book 4 nights on points, you only pay for 3 nights. Same thing applies to 8 nights, you're paying for 6 nights. So some really added value there. And this is what I mean. Get to know 2 or 3 programs, whether it be travel, groceries, gas, and then that's where you get to reap the savings more than anything else.
Real quick, what are some of the best redemptions that you've been able to take advantage of?
I took my parents to Hong Kong in business class on Air Canada, and just recently I took my wife and daughter to Orlando, hotels and flights included.
Yeah, that's awesome. Barry, really appreciate the tips and tricks, and I do have some more questions for you before we kind of let you go. And again, when it comes to redeeming points, what's your #1 best piece of advice?
So it goes back to what we were saying, knowing what programs work for you. So whether you're looking for travel rewards or cashback, figure out where you want to go, what destination you want to go to, and what points will get you there. And then you can start working backwards. Like what I mean by that is getting a credit card that earns you those points, and then figure out how can redeem them, including those sales. All
right, Barry, we're going to put it all up on our website, chch.com/morning live. Really appreciate you making the time today. All right, final hour coming up here on CHCH Morning Live.